I believe I received shade. I'm not supposed to touch my chin. You know, I've been touching my chin since 1990 when I started teaching. My students used to make fun of me, but I do it in part so you can see the watch. I'm not supposed to make this video at 7:36 in the morning, but I got to do it because I got to go to Trader Joe's. So I got to do this now. So I've been really focusing on what I'm trying to do with this channel, and I realized, thanks to you, thanks to reading my viewers' comments, that I'm here to give you excuse me. I'm here to give you superpowers. Can't believe I'm doing this 7:36 in the morning. If I'm not giving you superpowers, I'm not doing my job. And I'm not being facetious. I really do believe in superpowers. And the superpowers are wisdom, insight, self-control. If I'm making you fall in love with lots of watches and FOMO and chaos, then I'm not doing my job, man. I'm actually the supervillain. I'm being a supervillain. I mean, it may not even be moral of me to show off this amazing Seiko Tuna. This could be a disease. I don't know. But, excuse me, my job at 7:38 in the morning is to give you superpowers. And by superpowers, let me repeat this. It's not to give you get-rich schemes or how to get a hot bod in 6 weeks. It's wisdom, insight, and self-control. Because the opposite of self-control is chaos. And so I really believe that I have to give you superpowers. So when I give you watch principles, the watch principles that have to do with our watch hobby don't just apply to the hobby, they apply to life itself. And I realize I have to give you these superpowers. It's my mission, it's my job. If I don't do it, this channel shuts down. I'm going home. I'm going to curl up into the fetal position. I'm going to eat apple pie, drink beer, and I'm going to watch reruns of Gilligan's Island. That's going to be my life if I can't give you the superpowers. So one of you gave me some superpowers to share with you. Who was it? Who was it? We got some superpowers here I want to read to you. And the superpowers are going to be the watch half-baked principle and the watch 30-day principle. And these I came up with these names, but I got them after reading a comment from Dissident Mantis 7. And he says this. Let's unpack this after we read it. Okay, Jeff. He called me Jeff. You can do that. I have this weird thing that happens to me whenever I buy a new watch. I begin to fantasize about it until it arrives. And when I unbox it, I am immediately disappointed and even disgusted by the watch. It inevitably does not live up to my expectations, and I have buyer's remorse. This recently happened to me with the Zen U50. To combat this, see, he's using the superpowers, I decided to wear it every day for a month. At first, I hated it, but after forcing myself to bond with it for a few days, I am now in love. This watch can do no wrong in my eyes, and I am in a state of pure and constant ecstasy. Wow, dude. Talk about superpowers. There's a lot to unpack here. Let's first go with the first principle, the watch half-baked principle. When you get your Grail watch, it arrives usually in the mail, and this, let's be honest, usually it arrives in the mail. But even if you go to a watch store and bring it home, it's the same principle. You ready for this? The watch is not ready. It's not baked. It's not fully baked. What are these? Used to be Blue Apron, but now there are other services where they bring the ingredients to your house and you put them together. I don't use those services because I go on Instagram and there's 5 ingredients or less for Trader Joe's. Pretty much a variation of that theme. But the point is this. When your watch arrives in the mail or when you bring it home, You're not, you don't have that watch yet, psychologically. Read Dissident Mantis 7's comment. You have to go through a bonding principle. And the bonding is up to you. I don't know how you're going to bond with it if you're rotating 24 watches. Some of you can. Most of you can't do it. Based on the half-baked principle, you're going to have to fully bake it on your own, man. And he did not have the watch. He couldn't even make a decision on if he liked it or not when he got it. He had to wear it every day for 30 days, and that brings us to the 30-day principle. You don't even know if you like a watch until you spent 30 days with it. You got to spend a long time. You got to live with it, man. You may like it as you live with it. You may not. You may not be able to deal with it, man. What if it snores at 2 a.m.? What if it leaves the toilet seat up? What if it reads while moving its mouth? Like, some people can't read unless they move their mouth, as if it helps them read. I don't know. You might be turned off by it. You may need to get rid of it. The 30-day principle. Now put your helmets on. I'm going to change the metaphor so that you can understand what it means to really bond and get to know a watch. I'm going to change metaphors. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against literary principle, but I'm going to do it. If you put your seatbelt on, your helmet on, you're going to do this because it's going to give you superpowers. Okay, when I was 16 years old, my favorite band was Genesis. And I got to Genesis late in the game. I got into Genesis in the post-Gabriel period when Phil Collins was singing. So I immediately fell in love with Then There Were Three, Winds in the Withering, Trick of the Tail. So I had a Genesis nerd friend, because if you like Genesis, as opposed to Jeff Beck, Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, at my high school in Northern California in 1977, 78, you were a complete nerd. So my buddy says, I got to tell you something. You want to get the real Genesis experience? You got to go into the Peter Gabriel days, man. Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Selling England by the Pound. So I got those albums, and I had an experience similar to Dissident Mantis 7 with his Zen. I listened to the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, for example, and my immediate reaction was, this isn't Genesis. What is this? I couldn't even absorb it. I was taken aback by it. I was not. It was it was unpleasant. But as I continued to listen to the album over and over and over again, over 30 days, 30-day principle, superpowers, yes, I realized that the Peter Gabriel period, as opposed to the Phil Collins era, the Peter Gabriel albums had a depth. There was a dimension and depth that was far beyond the post-Gabriel albums, and I appreciated it far more deeply. I don't think you can appreciate a Grail watch unless you really bond with it. And this causes some questions as we look for superpowers. How in the heck are you going to bond with a watch on that level if you have a big collection and you're rotating a lot of watches? I don't know how you do it. Some of you can, but from most of your comments, your superpower, your ability to put order and happiness in your life through discipline and self-restraint, because that's the real superpower. Read the Tusculan Disputations, read the Stoics. I say this is a man struggling to achieve these superpowers, not as someone who arrogantly claims to have them. But if you really do bond with a watch, your collection has to be kind of small. I think 5 to 7 watches is more than enough for the watch obsessed. If you can't have that kind of bonding experience that Dissident Mantis 7 had, I think you're going to be miserable. All that time and energy invested in watches is just absolutely going to cause chaos and misery. You know, as I said, I made a video yesterday. I was saying this channel's always been about my appetites. And the appetites are about, really struggling with restraint and discipline, becoming unhinged. My heroes, when I go to YouTube, or when I read comments on my YouTube channel, my heroes are people who've achieved a certain restraint. So I watch a lot of fitness and nutrition channels like Thomas DeLauer, and I notice that my fitness influencing people on YouTube, they have a lot of restraint, they have a lot of order. There's no chaos. They eat 2 to 3 meals a day quite often. Or they don't do that. At least they keep their calories close to 2,000. They keep their protein over 150. They keep their carbs under 100. They're taking triglyceride fish oil. They're taking magnesium. And they look great. I need to lose 30 pounds. I mean, I carry my weight well because I've been working out since I was 12. I was an Olympic weightlifter when I was 12. But dude, my daughters go, dude, you got a thick trunk. Oh yeah. So I need the superpower for restraint, or I just won't be happy. And same thing with my watch collection. So here's how I want to end this video. Forgive me for touching my chin. Superpowers. Have you ever had an experience like Dissident Manta 7 where you bought a Grail watch and you were freaked out when you opened it and you forced yourself to wear it for a long time and it ended up becoming better than you thought and you actually bonded with it and fell in love with it? Oh, and my second question is this: how did that affect your collection? Did you have to like sell a bunch of watches so you'd have more time to spend with it? That's what I'd like to know. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a job to do, and if I'm not giving you superpowers, I'm done. And now I got to go shopping for healthy food. That's my job. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you think. Until next time, I'm out.